What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in the building with another banger. And as y'all can see by the looks of the title and the screen, I am coming out running and showing y'all gameplay with my OG squad and also my two-way point forward. Now in this gameplay, I really just want to go ahead and show y'all what this build is going to be able to do on both offense as well as defense. Now when it comes down to it, I'm telling y'all, this build is definitely my favorite build since 2K20, y'all. I'm telling you, ever since the point forwards made a comeback, a lot of people have not been using them too often, but ever since I started making them, I'm telling y'all, I'm putting them back on the map. And as y'all can see, this build is going to be able to do everything that y'all want when it comes down to a dribbler, shooter, as well as playing defense. And you can even run center with this build. That is going to be the best thing about it. Now, before we get any further in the video, I just want to say thank God so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm telling y'all, I really appreciate you guys as well. Shout out to the Rich Gang family. So man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Anybody looking to join RGF, the Rich Gang family, go ahead and turn on post notifications. Do not forget to do that. But also, let's go ahead and get 50 big likes on this video. I know that we can do it. Y'all have been showing out and it means the world to me. I just want y'all to know that your efforts do not go unnoticed. So again, shout out to everybody. Shout out to OG TaylorMade. Shout out to Bari. Shout out to everybody that's going to be watching y'all. I just know that when it comes down to it, y'all got my back and I got yours. And I'm always going to go ahead and drop y'all the most fire builds as well as the gameplay. Now today, it's Sunday, y'all. I just want y'all to know, I hope you are going to have a great start to your week. We start our week on Sundays, not Mondays. We're a step ahead of the game. So again, God bless y'all. But let's go ahead and get back into this gameplay. Now, as you can see, when it comes down to it, I have to be real with y'all. This build is not even maxed out yet. I don't have all the badges, barely around a 90 to 91 overall with some of this gameplay. And on top of all that, this build, once it's maxed out at 99 overall, this is where it's going to be the full potential maxed out. And honestly, I have to say, I cannot wait until we get that. And most definitely, I am going to be bringing y'all that as well. But look at the shooting on this build, y'all. Shooting some contested threes. And I don't even have all of my shooting badges as well. Now, when it comes down to next gen compared to current gen, I have to say, I'm favoring next gen a little bit more when it comes down to current, and only because of the versatility of the builds. When it comes down to it, the gameplay is a little bit different when it comes down to the defensive side. In my opinion, it feels a little bit smoother when it comes down to playing on next gen. Of course, that is going to be expected when you're coming on the PS5 or the new Xbox. But look, even with this build not being at its full potential, still going to be able to shoot really deep. I think I only have about 4 shooting badges when it comes down to this build. So again, you do not need too many shooting badges when it comes down to be able to shoot consistent on this game. A thing that I really like about this build as well, the defense is much better than what it shows on paper, especially with that lockdown takeover. And as y'all can see right here, gonna go ahead and play hot potato, passing the ball back and forth to be able to get an easy score. And again, if you want to be a spot up with this build who can also dribble, y'all most definitely can do that as well. Gonna be able to have some shot creator in it too. So again, there's many different takeovers that we're gonna be able to select when it comes down to it. If you want this build, I'll go ahead and drop it in the link in the description, y'all. So do not worry. And also on top of all that, I'm going to go ahead and put a little pop-up card, so be paying attention. And at the end of the video, it'll also be there as well. So do not worry. I have already dropped this. Go ahead and just check out my channel if y'all want to go ahead now, but then come back, because y'all most definitely know y'all got to see the gameplay of what this build is actually going to be looking like. Now, as y'all can see, you can even hit floaters on this build, which is something that's going to be really solid, especially with a close shot in the mid to high 80s, depending on how you make it, but also if you're going to be buying boost as well. I have to say the defense on this build is actually surprisingly better than what I expected. Now, last year I actually had this build as well, but I decided to choose the playmaking takeover to break the ankles. But honestly, if you pick the shot creating one with this build, you're gonna be able to get the same exact results that you would want out of it. So again, just let me know right now in the comment section, what build do you guys want to see in the future on my channel? And also, what build are y'all running? Now, a huge W by 2K for making a lot of the builds balanced in this year. Really, it's going to be coming down to skill and IQ on most builds. There's definitely still some overpowered ones, I have to say, especially with the perimeter lockdowns. But when it comes down to a majority of these builds, most of them are going to be able to do some really nice and unique things in their own build name. And especially on top of all that, I've been seeing a huge variety of different types of ball handlers as well as defensive builds. A lot of two ways, I have to say. But again, when it comes down to this point forward, you necessarily do not even need to be called a two-way to play some really good defense. As y'all can see, I'm even trying to get posted up against, and the defense is real. Gonna get some really nice contests, and also I'm gonna be able to outboard most of these centers, especially if you're in the right position to do so. Now, if you don't know already, I have 10 total defensive badges on this build. When it comes down to the playmaking, we're in the high 20s. The finishing, we get 4. And then when it comes down to the shooting, we get about 11. But you can make it to where you get around 15 shooting badges on this build. You're going to be able to take some sacrifices in certain areas. But again, that is just going to be based off of your own preference. There's not going to be one correct way to make it. But in the video that I have already dropped when it comes down to the making of this build, definitely going to be able to change up a lot about it. Now, the reason why I made it how I did, because I really wanted to be able to run center with this build. I love running a small ball lineup because of the speed that comes with it, but also when it comes down to ISOing, look down low. The center is just going to be staying there most of the time. If I get guarded by a guard, it's all good. That's straight ISO, and again, I'm going to green on them all day. Now, I have no idea why. I'm not sure if it's the Ben Simmons jersey or if I'm just playing against centers who do not know what they're doing. But a majority of the time, a lot of them are going to be sagging to help out in the paint. And that is what I have to say is the best thing about this build, is that you're really going to be able to ISO. And then on top of all that, once you get that jump shot down, the 3-pointers on this build are going to be real. So that also, if you want my jump shot, running the same exact jump shot when it comes down to next gen as well as current, go ahead and drop a like, and I most definitely got y'all when it comes down to it. This has to be the most consistent jumper that I have been using all year. My 3-pointer on this build is in the low 70s. Now, you could call it mid 70s, but I'm just going to go ahead and say the low 70s because it's actually under a 75. And as y'all can see, even the contested threes are still going to go in. Whether it's white, whether it's contested, both of them are going to be a huge threat when it comes down to this build. The mid-range game is very serious. So let's just go ahead and say that you don't know your jumper that well. You can always go ahead and take the mid-range, and look at the contests that we get down low, especially when we go ahead and chase it down, y'all. I have to say that with this build, I really favor it because when the centers are guarding me, it's easily game over, y'all. Look at the ISO that we get on this build, and especially, like I said, that lockdown takeover easily makes this build a two-way. Now, if y'all want the build, like I said, go ahead and check out the description. I most definitely got y'all. But when it comes down to the speed on this build, literally going to be a 99 once it gets maxed out. I believe it's going to be a 98, but it's pretty much the same exact thing. And you're going to be able to do every single thing when it comes down to the speed preferences as well as the defensive, y'all. The chase downs on this build are real. And then when it comes down to the finishing, y'all already see that when you ISO, if they play up on you, you're going to get an easy drive to the basket. I've been finishing on defenders as well. Now, when it comes down to the lineup that I like to run, first, of course, it's me with my two-way point forward, lockdown takeover, running the center. And as y'all can see, the finishing is not bad at all. And then, when it comes down to the second build I run with, pure playmaker with sharpshooting takeover. And then when it comes down to our point guard, the smallest build on the floor when it comes down to my lineup, a 6'4" playmaking shot creator with lockdown takeover, y'all. The 3-pointers are serious on that build, the finishing as well. And when it comes down to it, 2 builds with lockdown takeover that are going to be playmakers. I could have had the pure playmaker on my team choose lockdown takeover, but we decided to go with the sharpshooting just to get a little bit better of an advantage when it comes down to the shooting, just to have more of a pure shooter on this build. But the playmaking shot creator as well as this point forward is definitely going to be able to do everything that any play shot or any sharpshooter is going to do. Like I said, right here, this gameplay in this specific moment is against a pure lockdown, y'all. Definitely going to be be able to cook them up, and that is going to be my favorite thing about it, that when it comes down to it, you're still going to be able to have a very high bow height on this build, which means the steals are not going to be coming in as easy as they normally would. Of course, I like to run unpluckable, but when it comes down to the other badges, you need to run handles for days on this build, especially if you know how to ISO. Now, that's going to be the end of the gameplay. I just want y'all to know that I appreciate y'all so much. Thank God for giving me this opportunity. I got another video dropping for y'all later today, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But man, the double uploads are going to come back next weekend. Daily uploads during the week. So man, y'all already know what y'all need to do. Be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Anybody looking to join RGF, the Rich Gang family, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and turn on post notifications as well. And I'm telling y'all, when it comes to the likes, let's go ahead and get 50 big bangers when it comes to this video. Again, thank y'all. Shout out to the Rich Gang family. Thank God again. And man, with all that being said, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.